And I feel more joy because I'm working with my hands. When I was a filmmaker, it was different. Of course, I was also sometimes using the camera myself, but it's not the same thing. When I started to do these installations and work with my hands, I became the same little girl I was when I was 5 years old, when I learned how to use a sewing machine and learned to do different types of handicrafts and so on. So yes, I feel much more joy. I recommend it to everybody to start working with their hands. But I have to tell you that I have a 1-year-old granddaughter, and I'm already teaching her how to sew. She's sitting on my lap and watching me working with a needle. I want it to go to her deep to her brain and whole body to see it. So she will never forget. And when she's 2 years old, maybe she can do it herself. And the other thing is, I remember when I was about 5 years, I must have been 4.5 years old. We were visiting, my grandmother was having a summer cottage, and we went there, and then I went to the neighboring house where they were preparing for a party and doing this Karjalan piirakka, because they were refugees from Karelia, and they were preparing the Karjalan piirakka, and they were doing this they had the dough, and then they were doing this with a special, how do you call it? Pulikka. It's not the normal thing, which also she was using in the film, but it's a different shape, and she was doing the very, very thin Karjalan piirakka pohja, how do you call it, whatever. And she was doing it in a special way and moving it and doing it like this. And then 25 years later, I decided myself, I was a young mother, and I decided myself to make Karjalan piirakka. And I made the dough and everything was ready there. And then I just suddenly knew, I didn't even think of it. I just started to do the same way the lady in the neighboring house was doing. And my body remembered the movements she used, and it was inside my body. And I looked at myself and what are you doing? How do you know how to do it? And then I remembered that yes, I have seen this before. I have seen it when I was 4.5 years old in the neighboring house. And I was so happy that this kind of memory stays somewhere in your body, and that I had the perfect technique how to do it.
True?
Yeah, so that's why I want my granddaughter to sit here and watch when I'm doing it.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.